guys, it's Jackie and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am introducing you to my new series on Monday called Basic Mondays. So these are going to be my beginner-friendly videos, makeup tutorials, how-to videos. I'll do like full face looks, or I'll break it down and show you like how to apply mascara, how to apply lashes, anything like that, anything you guys want to see. But my Basic Monday videos are going to be designed for all of my beginners out there. Not even just beginners. If you are advanced with makeup but you just want to fine-tune some things in your makeup application, these videos are for you. So I hope you guys are excited because I'm excited. And for my first Basic Monday video, I want to share a full face drugstore makeup look designed for beginners. So this is a perfect everyday look that you can wear for school, for work, whatever it may be. It's super easy, and I'm going to break it down how to achieve this look. So if you are interested in finding out how to get this look, then just keep on watching. But before we jump into the video, make sure you guys subscribe so that you are officially part of the Little Flower family and you won't miss out on any upcoming videos I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to stress to beginners before starting makeup, before applying everything onto the face, is that it is really important to take care of your skin and have a really good skincare routine. I can make a whole separate video about this if you guys are interested, but make sure your face is cleansed and moisturized before you begin. And I'm just going to quickly moisturize. This is the Pixi Skin Treats H2O Skin Drink. It's a pure hydration gel. So I'm just going to use this to moisturize my skin before we begin. I like this stuff because it's so lightweight. It doesn't feel heavy or anything like that. And you don't want to apply a moisturizer or a cream or anything that's too heavy before your makeup application, because then your makeup is just going to slip and slide all over your face and it's not going to stay in place. So I like this hydration gel because it soaks into the skin and really just leaves your skin nice and hydrated, but not greasy or any like weird residue. So we're gonna begin with the face, and for the face I recommend having 4 good tools. If you have these 4, I feel like you can create any type of look you want. For this video, I kept all the makeup that I used, drugstore makeup, but I really didn't want to compromise the tools, because I feel like the tools that you use to apply your makeup are very important, if not more important than the actual product you use. Your tools are everything. So some of these are high-end, but I think they're really good, and if you can get your hands on them, I highly recommend you do. So these are the 4 that I recommend for the face. So first we have the Beauty Blender, or any kind of beauty sponge. I think it's the easiest, fastest, and most flawless foolproof way to apply any kind of cream product or even powder product onto your skin. The next one is having a good big fluffy brush. This is from Jaaack'd, which is a drugstore brand that you can find at Target and I believe Ulta. Maybe not Ulta, maybe just Target, I don't know. But Jaaack'd has really awesome brushes, and she has a wide range of brushes to choose from. So having a good fluffy brush, because you can use this to set your powder, you can use this to contour, add your blush, you can really, it's so versatile. So a good big fluffy brush. Having a contoured brush like this, it's great for either bronzer or blush, so this is a great one to have as well. This is from It Brushes for Ulta. It is the number 227 Flawless Blush Brush. And finally, I think having a fan brush is really awesome as well. e.l.f. makes a great one, which is only $1, so if you want to go to the drugstore and pick that up, it totally works. So this one I have is the Morphe E60, which is awesome, but like I said, the e.l.f. one that's $1 is pretty much the same thing as this, and it works great. So I used to have it, I just can't find it anymore, so that's why I'm using this one. So we're keeping this very basic, very simple. I'm not gonna do a million zillion steps to get like full glam. This is a beginner's makeup tutorial for beginners who want an everyday kind of look. So the first step I'm going to do is apply foundation. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation. I'm in the shade Bronze Beige. I think this foundation is really awesome. It's super affordable, it has great coverage, and it lasts all day. So this is a great one to have. Oh, and it looks beautiful in photos. I forgot to add that. So as a beginner starting out with makeup, you see all these makeup tutorials and they just pile on the foundation and all the makeup, and it can be a little intimidating. And then when you go to sit down and try it out for yourself, and like this is the first time you've ever worn makeup, it's gonna feel like you're wearing 50 pounds of makeup. So we're gonna keep it super simple, super natural. So instead of just slapping all this all over my face, I'm actually just going to use this in certain parts of my face to get a nice even complexion. We're not really trying to mask our entire face. We just wanna even out our skin tone, and that's what the purpose of foundation is, to even out all the discoloration. So like the redness around the nose or any discoloration on the cheeks, around the mouth, forehead, that sort of thing, but also add coverage. So if you do have some problem areas like maybe some pimples or breakouts, I have freckles. I don't necessarily think those are problem areas, but sometimes I like to cover those up with makeup. So that is what we're going to use the foundation for. So I'm going to start off by just drawing 3 little stripes onto my cheek, and then with a damp beauty blender, I'm just going to start bouncing that onto my skin. So I'm just going to focus this on the cheek area right now and around the nose, because that's where a lot of redness is. So I'm just going to bounce this. And then sometimes I like to go onto the eyelid as well, because our eyelids, the skin there is just so thin that you can see through and like see all of your veins and everything like that. So I'm just going to cover that up with the foundation. Again, just bouncing this damp beauty blender into my skin. The most redness I have is around my nose, so I'm concentrating in that area and then just bouncing it everywhere else. And the more you bounce your sponge onto your skin, the more blended out the foundation is going to look. So if you look at my skin now, this is not like a full coverage kind of look, but it did even out my skin tone. The redness is not as visible anymore, and some of my blemishes have been covered up with that first layer of foundation. If you need more, you can definitely go back and add another layer of foundation in the same method that we applied the first layer. But moving on, I am going to grab concealer. This is the NYX Got You Covered Waterproof Concealer. I'm in the shade medium, and what you can do with this, if you have like really dark under eye circles or like a few problem spots, that's what you want to use your concealer for. What I actually like to do with this concealer, because it is a little on the thicker side, you can see that it's thick because I'm like tilting my hand over it and it's not dripping or anything like that. I'm going to take my damp beauty blender and just pick up some of the product on the back of my hand and then start going into the problem areas. So I have a little redness right there. First, I'm just going to dab it and we'll blend it in later. So I'm going to go over all the spots. I have a little bit of darkness under my eyes, so we're going to get that. Again, we'll go in and blend in a second. And same with over here. So now with the same method we applied our foundation, we're going to blend in the concealer the same way. So I'm just going to bounce this on the areas I just applied the concealer, and it's just going to blend everything really, really nicely into the skin. So we blended that in, covered up the dark circles, the few red marks that I had that the foundation didn't cover. So we didn't put foundation over our entire face, we only put it in the areas we wanted to even out, and then the concealer we put just in the problem areas. So now that moves us into step 3, which is the powder. So the powder I have, I totally recommend this. It's one of my favorite drugstore powders. This is from Physicians Formula. It's the Mineral Wear Powder. This is in the shade Beige. This powder is just so great. It's great for natural everyday looks. It's great for those days you want to add a little more coverage and have your makeup be a little heavier, so like night outs or special events. It feels great on the skin. It's not heavy or drying on your skin at all. It's perfect. So I'm going to take this on the big fluffy brush from Jaaack'd. I'm just going to tap this into the powder and then tap off any excess. And then I'm just going to tap this into my skin. And again, just like the beauty blender, the more you tap this into the skin, the more blended it's going to look. You're not going to see any harsh lines or anything like that. That's another reason why I like using such a big fluffy brush like this for my powder, is because you can't see the lines of, so if I were to dab my powder there, you really can't see where it ends and begins, you know what I mean? There's no harsh lines. And this is just going to set the cream product that we applied, and it's gonna help it last a lot longer throughout the day. So a problem we run into when we do our makeup, once we have our foundation, concealer, and powder on, we are basically a blank canvas right now. Our skin is all one color, which makes us look very flat. So that's why we wanna add some color and life back into our skin. So that's why people will then apply blush and bronzer. So the blush and bronzer I'm gonna be using today is from e.l.f. Cosmetics, and this is in St. Lucia. I think this is a good starter blush and bronzer duo. So I'd like to start off with bronzer first, and I'm just going to use the same big fluffy brush that I used for my powder. I'm going to take this and pick up some of the bronzer, just a little bit like that. And again, you always want to tap off the excess just because you don't want to be applying too much product at once. It's always better to apply a little and build it rather than applying too much and then having to work hard to blend it all out. So start little and then just build from there. So when it comes to bronzer and contouring, there's like so many different rules and it gets a little overwhelming, but I feel like the safest way that you can apply your bronzer that will work on really any face shape is the 3E method. So what that means is we're making a 3 on one side and then an E on the other side. I don't know if I did that backwards. I don't know how you guys are seeing it, but basically we're gonna hit the sides of the forehead, the hollows of the cheek, so that fishy face kind of thing, and then the jawline. So it just gives you a nice overall bronzy glow to your skin and just adds more color and life and dimension back into your skin, because again, right now we are flat. We are all one color right now. So gonna take this, I like to start out my cheeks first, so you can do a little kissy face if you want. And we're just going to brush this starting from the hairline, and I like to do little circular motions and then slowly fade it towards the corner of the mouth. We're not going all the way, but we're going in that direction, and I kind of stop in this general area. You can decide what looks best on your face shape, but I start there and then I will move this up and then bring it to the top of my forehead like that, and then down to my jawline. So it's like a 3. Get it? And then I'm just gonna go and blend that a little more. So now I'm just going to do the same thing on the next side, starting from the hairline, doing circular motions and then bringing it down towards the corner of my mouth. And then I will drag this color up towards the sides of my forehead and then down onto my jawline. And one thing I always do with my bronzer is just run it down the sides of my nose. Not so much contouring, but I feel like we've warmed up the sides, like the perimeter of our face, and everything in the center of our face is lighter, but to me it just looks so off. So I like to just warm up the center of my face, so that's why, you know, my nose is the center. So I'll add a little bit of my bronzer down the sides of my nose. Not only does it give the illusion of a skinnier and taller nose, because I have a really flat nose, but it just, I feel like it just evens out the bronzer and just everything is nice and warm now. Now I'm going to move on to blush, and you can absolutely use this same fluffy brush, but I'm going to move on to the more angled contour type of blush brush. I'm going to pick up this blush. So for this one, you want to smile and find the apples of your cheeks, which are these little bumps right here. And I like to start off by applying a little bit right there and bringing it back towards my hairline. So kind of the same way we applied the bronzer, but starting from the opposite direction. So I start here and then just bring it back. And fun fact, the higher that you apply your blush, the younger you're gonna look, and the lower that you apply your blush, the older you're going to look. So now we have color back into our complexion, but it's not too overwhelming. I didn't do any like harsh contours or anything like that, but we do have life. Our skin has life again. Now this next step is such a trendy thing, so you can totally skip it if it's not your cup of tea, but I love a good highlight. So I'm going to be taking the Milani Strobe Light and then the fan brush that I mentioned. I'm going to pick some of this up, and you can either pick the product up like straight like this, but I like to kind of go on the side of the fan brush because then you can pick up a little more product that way. And then right on the very, very tops of your cheekbones. So if you smile, you can see the very, very tops, or even if you don't smile, the very, very tip tops of your cheekbones. That's where we're going to apply this guy. Really focusing it more on the outer part. I don't want to bring it all the way up to like the front part of my cheeks. So I just keep this right here on this outer part. And this just gives you that really like glowy, dewy look. So see how our skin just looks kind of wet and dewy? And that just adds a very youthful glow to our face. And I like to apply a little bit just to the tip of my nose like that. Just a little bit. So now let's move on to this part of our face, the eyes and the brows. So now for the eyebrows, we are going to fill them in and define them with the Ardell brow pencil in the shade Blonde. This is a great one. I feel like using a pencil for your eyebrows is just the easiest way to go, and it also comes with a spoolie, which is awesome to brush it out and help everything blend a lot better. And so we're not going to do anything too crazy or over the top. We're just going to follow the natural shape of our brows and fill in any sparse areas. So this pencil is angled, so we're just going to have it at a slant and just start making hair-like strokes through the brows. And every so often you can take the spoolie to brush the brows up and back this way to help soften everything. I really like to make this end part a little more defined. So I'm just going to, again, follow the natural shape of my brows. And again, always going back to that spoolie to soften everything and make it look more natural. So you can see the difference between the two brows. This one just looks a lot more put together and a lot cleaner and sharper. This one's just so undefined. So that is really the purpose of filling in our eyebrows. So that's how I do my brows, just keeping it very simple, nothing too crazy, just really filling in those sparse areas to make my eyes look a lot more defined and cleaned up. Keep in mind throughout this entire tutorial, every single step I do may not necessarily be a step that you need to do in your own makeup routine. So just take the parts of this tutorial that you want to keep and just forget the rest. You know what I mean? Ultimately, do what works best for you. So if you don't even need to fill in your brows, totally skip that part. Now for eyeshadows, I think it's really important to have a great palette that has a bunch of nudes and browns. I think that's just like the safest way to go, especially as a beginner. So a palette like this from e.l.f., this is the Necessary Nudes. It's going to look beautiful on every eye color and every skin tone. So for the face, I had 4 tools that I recommended, and for the eyes, I have 4 tools that I recommend. So the first one, this is the Jaaack'd Tools number 7. So this is just a flat shader brush. So this is great to apply color onto the entire lid. You can use this kind of a brush to pack on color onto the lid or brow bone or anything like that. So this is a really great staple to have in your makeup bag. I have 2 blending brushes here that I think are just so crucial and important to have. The first one being a more flimsy, tapered, fluffy brush. So see, this one is super fluffy. This is great for adding a transition color, just blending out colors that are a little too harsh or too pigmented. This is the NYX number 16 brush, and I just really like how fluffy it is. So this is a great one to have. And then this brush is another fluffy brush. This is the Morphe M433 brush, but as you can see, it is a little smaller and a little more dense. So this is great for concentrating color into the crease, and because it's still on the fluffier side, you can also blend it out as well. So I feel like having these 2 blending brushes are key to your whole like makeup bag, makeup collection. And you can really create any type of look with these brushes. And the last eye tool I recommend is having a good pencil brush. So this is the Morphe M431 brush. This is great for adding darker colors on the outer part to smoke out an eyeshadow look, or even apply color onto the lower lash line. So this is great for more detailed spots in your eyeshadow look. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take your more fluffier brush and take the lightest, most neutral matte brown in your palette. So for this one, it would be this shade right here. So I'm going to pick this shade up and just start blending this into my crease with windshield wiper motions back and forth. So with this color, you can blend it in the crease, and because it's so neutral, you can really just sweep it over the entire eyelid. So you have your eyelid right here and then up towards the brow bone. So you can be a little messy with it because it's just such a neutral color. You don't have to be as precise. Now I'm going to take that flat shader brush from Jaaack'd, and I'm going to take this light shade right over here. It does have some shimmer in it, and we're going to use this as the brow bone highlight. So this is again going to make our brows look nice and defined and cleaned up, but this is also just going to add that pop of light to our eyeshadow look. So I like to pop this right here under the arch of my brow, and then I'll blend it under the entire brow. You can also take this same color and put it right there on the inner corner. That's just going to bring more light to the eyes. It just makes your eyes look more bright and more awake. So if you're like really tired in the morning, just put a bright color on the inner corner of your eyes and you're gonna look so much more awake. You will fool everyone at the office. With that same shader brush, we're going to add the lid color now. And I think for this look, I'm going to take this light gold here at the top corner. And we're going to sweep this on the lid and keeping it below the crease. So in order to find the crease, you can take your brush or your finger, but it's where you feel your eyeball socket kind of go in. So that's your crease right there, where it goes in. So we're going to basically concentrate this color below where that eye socket is. So we're just gonna keep it right here on the lid and do the same to the next side. Now going in with the fluffy brush, I'm going to take that brown shade right here. This is the darkest color in the palette. And we're going to start working this color on the outer part of the eye, make these little circular motions, and then bring it into the crease with windshield wiper motions. So we're just going to keep going back and forth, building the intensity of this color, making the eyeshadow look a little more smoky, a little more sultry, but we're going to keep going back and forth to blend it so that there are no harsh lines, because we definitely don't want that with our eyeshadow look. And then what I like to do once I'm done adding that color is go back in with that more fluffier brush that we used with this color right here. You can take that and just go over everything to ensure that everything is nice and blended and there's no harsh lines. And lastly, with the little pencil brush that I have, I'm going to take the darker gold here, and we're going to sweep this onto the lower lash line. So I start at the outer corner and I just go back and forth, dragging this right where my eyelashes are. And I'm gonna take a little bit of that darker brown right here and focus this just on the outer half of the lower lash line. So that first color we put all the way around our lower lash line, but this one I'm just going to focus it right here on the outer part. Now for eyeliner. So I know liquid liner can be a little scary, especially if you're just starting out with makeup, so I recommend grabbing a really good pencil liner. This one is from NYX. It's the Tres Jolie Gel Pencil Liner. This is awesome because it's super pigmented and it's nice and creamy, so it's easy to work with, but it doesn't budge and doesn't move anywhere, so it will stay put all day, and that's what you want in an eyeliner. And I just realized I had you guys so far away and I have no idea why, so I apologize for that, but I'm bringing you guys in a little closer so you can see the details of what we're going to be working on next. So, eyeliner time. I feel like applying it on to the waterline is so much easier than the top lash line, so we're going to start with that. So what I do is I just gently, and you can use your beauty blender if you don't want to actually touch your face, I'm just going to gently pull down on my eye like this so you can apply the liner a lot better onto the waterline. And the waterline is the space between your eyelashes and your actual eyeball. So don't poke this in your eyeball, but go right above where your eyelashes are. So I'm just going to gently pull, don't like pull down your eyelid, because that's, I don't know, that just makes me cringe really badly. It's like really scary looking, and then also you're encouraging more wrinkles to appear under your eyes, so be gentle. So I'm just going to gently pull down, and we're going to apply this liner right here. So right on that waterline. See the difference? See the difference? Now we're going to apply the eyeliner to the upper lash line as well, and one trick I have here is keep the line as thin as possible, unless you have really big eyes. If you have small eyes like I do, you want to keep it very thin. If you put too much, it's just going to look like raccoon eyes and it's just going to be a mess, and if you have hooded eyes like I do, you're just asking for disaster. So my advice to you, if you have small eyes like me or just even regular size eyes, I would recommend keeping the line very small. So what I do is just make little strokes right here on the outer part of my lash line. So that's where I like to start first. And you want to get this as close to your lashes as possible so there's no gap. I don't like drawing just a straight line across because you're more prone to messing up, having a gap between your eyeliner and your actual lashes. So I find it just easier to make these little small strokes like this. And I actually, because of the shape of my eyes, I keep the eyeliner just on the outer part, especially if I'm working with a pencil liner like this. So I'll go about halfway like that and then just clean up the line. And if you need to, you can slightly pull the eye a little taut so it's a little easier to work with. I try not to tug my eyes too much, but sometimes it makes the application a little easier. So now it's time to curl our lashes. So this is going to help our lashes look a lot more open, and that actually gives your eyes a more open, bright-eyed, awake look. So if you're feeling a little tired and you're in a rush, just curl your lashes and apply some mascara, and it's just going to make you look so much more awake. I have really tiny lashes. That's why I usually go for fake lashes, but for this natural everyday beginner's makeup look, I'm just going to stick to mascara. So we're going to skip the false lashes today. Now for mascara, the drugstore mascara that I have here is the Wet n Wild Lash Renegade Mascara. I like this because it's affordable and cruelty-free. Doesn't do the most amazing things to my lashes, but it works. So I'm going to apply this to my upper lashes and my lower lashes. So that right there is one coat of mascara. So I'm going to move on to the next side and do that. And then once I'm done with that, I'll go back to this side and add another coat. So I like to add a few layers of mascara because, again, I have really tiny lashes that are very unimpressive. So I like to layer on the mascara. Now I'm going to apply the mascara to the lower lashes, and I don't care so much for these to be like super dramatic, so I just like to add a little bit of mascara to the lower lashes. I really focus the mascara on the top lashes. Ta-da! We are done with the eyes, so all that's left to do with this makeup look is apply our lip color. And you guys, if you can get your hands on this, I highly recommend you do. This is from Pacifica, so you can find it at Target. This is the Pacifica Power of Love Powerful Color Natural Lipstick in the shade Tender Hearts. This has been one of my favorite Pacifica lip products and lip colors for years, and it's just amazing. I love the color. It feels so comfortable on the lips, and this is a great starter lipstick for beginners out there, so highly recommend you get your hands on this one. If you want a softer color, you can use your finger to kind of blend it out, and it softens the color so it's not as loud, you know what I mean? So that is it for this drugstore beginner-friendly makeup tutorial. I hope you guys found it helpful. Let me know what you guys thought of this video in the comments below. Let me know, was it actually helpful? I would love to hear you guys' feedback. This was my first Basic Monday video, so I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you have any requests for beginner-friendly videos, make sure you let me know in the comments below. Don't forget, I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so I will see you guys back here on those days. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!